Mangwana ni malelepo fokenjani class vanave Africa. Welcome to Africa. Good morning, the show that remains your portal into Africa's most potent stories. Just now in studio, we were having a little bit of a chat of a video of myself dancing, and we have a decision to make and would like our viewers to help us make it. I used to dance from the age of, I guess, 9 years old, all the way into my 20s, and at some points professionally. And if you would like to see that video, let us know on our social media. Say yes to the dance, and we'll show it on Workers' Day. If not, that's fair and fine. That saves my ego. I'm 36 years old. The bones don't move quite like they used to. Anyway, this is Africa. Good morning. And as always, we're going to be taking you through the most potent stories in Africa, including Rorisang Mogojwe joining us from Botswana to deliver the Botswana report. But these are the stories from the broader continent. Africa's $4 trillion capital fails to deliver jobs and industrial growth. William Ruto unveils dual carriageway plan for Makutano-Meru Highway. Mwamba demands answers over handling of Edgar Lungu's remains. Reports emerge of royal guard death during Eswatini celebrations. UK Museum to return 45 historic artifacts to Botswana. And President Hakainde Hichilema of Zambia warns neglecting heritage risks national identity loss. DSTV 285, GOTV 25, oneup2.com, Network Media Hub, and NTVAFRIKA.MY.NA. That is where you can always watch the show. My name is Ashwin Berry. Top stories shortly. Let's get into our top stories. Africa's domestic capital has risen to above $4 trillion. Yet this expansion is not translating into large-scale job creation or industrial growth, according to a report by the Africa Finance Corporation. The study identifies weak financial intermediation and poor capital allocation as central constraints, noting that much of the continent's financial resources are locked in low-risk assets instead of being directed into productive sectors such as infrastructure and manufacturing. The report argues that the challenge is no longer the availability of capital, but it is deployment, with bank assets, pension funds, insurance pools, and sovereign capital failing to generate sufficient employment or industrial output. It highlights a structural imbalance where African economies export raw materials while importing finished goods, effectively shifting job creation abroad and exposing domestic markets to imported inflation. Capital remains concentrated in short-term instruments like government securities, limiting long-term investment. Declining external financing further reinforces reliance on domestic resources. The report calls for stronger financial frameworks, integrated infrastructure systems, and a shift toward value addition to unlock economic transformation across the continent. Now, President William Ruto of Kenya has announced plans to upgrade the Makutano-Meru Highway into a dual carriageway using the National Infrastructure Fund. Speaking in Tharaka-Nithi County, he said the government now has the financial mechanism to expand the 169-kilometer corridor which connects key agricultural regions to Nairobi. The project will link Kirinyaga, Embu, Tharaka-Nithi, and Meru counties. with expectations of improved transport efficiency, reduced travel times and enhanced safety, particularly at known black spots such as Niti Bridge. Ruto stated that funding and engineering solutions for the bridge are already in place and called for accelerated implementation, including land compensation processes. The initiative is part of a broader infrastructure agenda supported by funds generated from the sale of the Kenya Pipeline Company, which contributed over 103 billion Kenyan shillings to the National Infrastructure Fund. Now, former Zambian High Commissioner to South Africa, Emmanuel Mwamba, has written to President Cyril Ramaphosa, raising concerns over the handling of the remains of former President Edgar Lungu. In the letter dated April 27, Mwamba alleges that individuals identifying themselves as South African police and Zambian officials removed the body from Two Mountains funeral services in Johannesburg without legal authority, family consent, or the presence of relatives. He states the group claimed to be enforcing an August 2025 Gauteng High Court order of repatriation. According to Mwamba, the family later secured a fresh High Court order directing that the body be returned, but this was allegedly ignored. The remains were instead taken to Tshwane Forensic Services in Pretoria, where a post-mortem was conducted without the family or their lawyers present. Mwamba argues the procedure was not authorized by any court proceedings and violated cultural norms and legal processes. He says the actions have caused tensions and has requested an explanation from the South African government. And of course, critics are pointing out the irony of this being the thing that violates cultural norms when President Edgar Lungu died in June last year and is yet to be buried because the family is opposing the culture of a president being buried in his country. We move on. Reports indicate that Lieutenant Kolani Mdludli, a member of the Umbufutho Eswatini Defense Force serving as a royal bodyguard, allegedly shot and killed himself during celebrations marking the 40th anniversary of King Mswati III's reign. The incident is said to have occurred at the royal villas in Eswatini around 11 a.m. Shortly before events at Ludzini Palace. Mdludli was part of the security detail for visiting dignitaries and had previously guarded the king and queen mother. Accounts suggest he was the son of the late Boy Mdludli, a former aide to the king, and had reportedly expressed concerns about low salaries in the security forces. Family members and unnamed sources linked the incident to these grievances, though the army spokesperson declined to comment. The story has circulated widely through local reporting and social media, but independent confirmation from major international outlets remains limited. The development comes amid a broader context of political tensions, economic concerns, and ongoing scrutiny of governance and public sector conditions in Eswatini. Brighton and Hove Museums is set to return 45 cultural artifacts to Botswana following a partnership with the Khama III Memorial Museum in Sorowe. The items, originally collected in the 1890s by Reverend William Charles Willoughby from the Gamangwato region, include clothing, accessories, hunting implements, and domestic objects. The return follows a formal repatriation request made in 2022 and is believed to be the first substantial return of its kind from the United Kingdom Museum. The initiative forms part of the Making African Connections project led by the University of Sussex between 2019 and 2021. Curators say the move represents a step toward reconnecting the artifacts with the communities and knowledge systems that give them meaning. The objects will be displayed in a permanent exhibition opening on 27 May. The exhibition will also coincide with a two-day international summit hosted in collaboration with the University of Sussex and the University of Botswana. And President Hakainde Hichilema of Zambia has cautioned that nations which fail to preserve their cultural heritage risk losing their identity. Speaking to ZNBC News while in Eswatini, the Zambian leader emphasized the importance of safeguarding traditions and history as foundational elements of national character. He made the remarks after attending the 40th coronation celebrations of King Mswati, where cultural expression and historical continuity were prominently observed. Hichilema Hichilema highlighted that heritage plays a critical role in shaping how nations understand themselves and project their identity to the world. He noted that ignoring these elements could weaken societal cohesion and disconnect future generations from their roots. The president's comments come in the context of his participation in the celebrations, which brought together leaders and dignitaries to mark the milestone. His remarks underscored the broader significance of cultural preservation, pointing to it as an essential pillar in maintaining identity, unity, and continuity within nations across the region. Those have been our top stories on Africa Good Morning. Shortly, we will be joined by Rorisang Mogojwe as she delivers the Botswana report.
Good morning, Dumelang. Thank you so much for having me on Africa. Good morning.
It's good to have you on the show, Rorisang, as you do take us through the Botswana report. Starting with Botswana and Zimbabwe moving to scrap passport for travel across borders.
Thank you very much, Ashwin. Now, this proposal was confirmed during the 5th Botswana-Zimbabwe Binational Commission, which was held in Harare, Zimbabwe, attended by both Presidents Duma Boko and Emmerson Mnangagwa. Now, officials say that this plan will be supported by harmonized immigration systems, as well as one-stop border posts and digital clearance platforms, as well as improved facilitation for traders. However, it currently remains at an early stage and is going to require some legal reforms as well as technological systems to be put in place before it can be implemented. Now, President Boko has noted both at the commission and right here at home that Botswana is currently developing advanced digital identity solutions, and these include smartphone accessible national IDs in order to smoothen cross-border movement. Now, a few years ago, President Mokgweetsi Masisi also spoke of such an agreement to take place between Botswana and Zimbabwe, following the same system to be implemented between Botswana and Namibia. And now President Duma Boko has signed or inked this deal with President Emmerson Mnangagwa to have citizens of both countries travel between the two countries using only national IDs instead of passports. And officials say that this move actually forms part of broader efforts by the two countries, the two neighboring countries, to strengthen trade as well as cooperation, alongside several other agreements that were put in place on defense, security, and investment.
We live in a fluid, very dangerous world now. World of uncertainty. World of might being right, where the international legal order is being subverted every day and disorder is normalized and given the imprimatur of authority. We face these challenges. And sometimes as African countries, we think we are helpless. We are not. We hold some of the aces. In fact, we hold some of the most important aspects needed for this world to survive. We are endowed with natural resources The African continent is rich, by far the richest continent on the face of the earth. It has young people. The median age, the average population is 19 years, 3 months on the African continent. A continent of 1.4 billion people, over 60% of them being young people, full of youthful energy, marauding, bristling with purpose. And we are a poor continent? No, we cannot be. And we have natural resources in staggering abundance and variety. How can we be poor? And how can we go out to the world as beggars, as weaklings, asking them to give us a seat at the table at the United Nations? No, we must break into that organization and claim our seat at the head of the table. I make these remarks forcefully and evocatively because they must represent the new thinking, the new Chimurenga across the breadth and dimensions of the African continent. And so, we are here to continue to mark the steps, to chart a course, to script a new and refreshingly different, defiant, powerful narrative for Africa.
Powerful words from President Duma Gideon Boko. Now, Rorisang, talk us through Botswana rolling out a polio vaccination.
According to the Ministry of Health, the move follows a recent risk assessment that was conducted in partnership or with support from the Global Polio Eradication Initiative. Now, this assessment, according to authorities, was triggered by the detection of circulating vaccine-derived poliovirus type 2 that was detected in neighboring countries, including areas bordering Botswana. Health authorities are warning that high cross-border movement for work, for social activities, as well as for trade, combined with low immunity levels amongst children, places Botswana at an increased risk of transmission. However, they have assured that the ministry is on high alert and preparations for this polio vaccination campaign, which is to be carried out nationwide, are currently underway, and the government says that it aims to boost population immunity as well as protect vulnerable communities.
Now, Rorisang, much like South Africa, Zimbabwe, Malawi, now Botswana is forging ahead with inroads into the hemp and cannabis industry.
Well, as you may recall, Ashwin, Botswana is the new kid on the block after having recently legalized the cultivation of hemp for medicinal and industrial purposes late last year through the Boko administration for economic diversification purposes. Now, currently, authorities are saying that key legal as well as regulatory frameworks are now in place to govern production as well as processing and export, and the country is fast becoming well positioned to compete in this global sector. Now, 2 companies have already been licensed and they have started running pilot projects in collaboration or in partnership with the National Agricultural Research and Development Institute, and they are supported as well by the Botswana University of Agriculture and Natural Resources. Now, government says it has also secured a piece of land in the central district of the country for commercial cultivation, and that development work is already in progress ahead of full-scale production. Our officials say that the crop's short growth cycle and expanding uses, particularly the CBD in pharmaceuticals and wellness, actually present very strong economical potential to create jobs as well as boost exports and support local enterprises. We do understand that a high-level Botswana delegation recently in Bulawayo, Zimbabwe, visited a cannabis farm in order to benchmark Zimbabwe's progress as well as explore explore opportunities for collaboration within this sector, which, like I said, Botswana is a new kid on the block, but it is pushing ahead with plans to advance hemp as well as medicinal cannabis industry in the country.
All right, now in the last of your updates, excitement is around Gaborone, but of course the region, Africa and the World Athletics Relays are going to be in Botswana, and the city is prepared.
The excitement amongst members of the public here in Botswana is real, and it continues to build as Gaborone is ready and set to roll out the red carpet to host the world at this weekend's Botswana World Athletics Relays Gaborone 2026 competition set to take place at the National Stadium in Gaborone. Actually, the momentum has been building since last week after the FNB Golden Grand Prix took place, and that was also a world-class sporting event which kickstarted the national momentum and got Botswana excited to be the ones hosting an event of this magnitude for the first time on African soil. And this is despite earlier concerns that Botswana was ill-prepared to welcome and host the world, especially a global sporting event of this magnitude. However, local organizing committee members have assured that everything is ready. The National Stadium where the event will take place is ready to go. Infrastructure around the city has been improved and finessed, and sponsorships are also falling into place. If you can recall, like that last week, President Duma Boko launched or unveiled historic medals which are embedded with locally processed diamonds, which is a first for the event. And these were backed by a 10 million pula sponsorship from the Okavango Diamond Company. Of course, Botswana is the title sponsor after pouring in 16 million pula. And many other companies have since jumped on board to sponsor this event in order to make it a success. And then on the track, we know that Botswana is fielding a very strong team, which will include the Olympic star Litsile Tebogo as well as the 400-meter champion Colin Kibina-Tsipi. And Litsile Tebogo is confident, and he says that the team is well prepared mentally and physically, and that the morale is high ahead of this showdown. We do understand that some teams from across the world have already started to land in Botswana and are well prepared to compete this weekend. And of course, we will be reporting more of this global spectacle right here on Africa. Good morning.
Yes, indeed. And shortly, we're going to bring you two speeches from the launch of the medals ceremony, which was introducing the diamond-encrusted medals, where President Duma Boko shared some words, and of course, Botswana's track star Letsile Tebogo with some words as well. But prior to that, we now say goodbye on Africa. Good morning, DSTV 285, GOTV 25, 102.com, Network Media Hub, NTVAFRIKA.MY.NA. Those are the places that you can watch the show. Tomorrow, Ari Hochart joins us from South Africa with that South Africa report. And as always, we'll be bringing you the stories from broader Africa. From me and the Africa Good Morning team, Suraj Jakanaka.
And it is fitting, therefore, that for the first time in the history of global athletics, the medals of the World Athletics Relays will feature a natural diamond from Botswana. This is more than just a design choice. It is a statement, a powerful reminder that behind every natural diamond is a place, a people, and a story shaped by time, pressure, responsibility, and a vision that we express with supernal clarity always. That is the Republic of Botswana.
Preparation has been really going well. Morally, The team is happy. The mood is very high in the camp. I don't know if there are any queries, but if they are there, it's a lot. This is we've asked the management Ghana, it's race week. We don't need any disturbance. We don't need the mental aspect to be touched, because once you touch that mental aspect, for some it's going to take a day for it to recover. For some it's going to take a long time. When you recover after championship, of which is something that we don't want. So we'll see if the management really had our cry, not to disrespect anybody, but we should just keep it as minimum as possible, keep the morale high, keep everything as high as possible, so that when we get into the championship, everything is Ghana Little 1, 2, 3, 3, 4. So it's something that we try and avoid by all means. I hope and pray that they have really had our cry. We should minimize every activity that are going to be draining into the mental aspect.